Yeah, thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Great team win. I think from a standpoint of what we wanted to get accomplished today, obviously the goal, number one, was to win. Come out injury-free. Adam got banged up there, but everybody else comes out injury-free, which was positive. And then, from a standpoint of, all three phases, be efficient. And I thought for the most part we were able to do that. Played a lot of guys. I believe everybody that was eligible to play played today. Not trying to run it up there at the end. We had Tom Ruby in the backfield. And as you guys know, he's our hero, a special man, special American, and pretty special week for Tom. Had a baby boy this week, Bo Michael, and so just trying to put an exclamation point for Tom with that. So, but a great team win, and now we'll move on to a great opponent. We got to travel on the road for the first time and see our focus and discipline when we go on the road. So with that, how about some questions?
Third downs, something that was successful for you defensively last week, and this week you put in 4-0 for. So what's different about that third down defense? Or is there no change? Is it just their mentality every down?
Yeah, right now, third down-wise, we've been able to be pretty efficient from a standpoint, I think, execution of the call and our ability to get some pass rush. Obviously that's been the key. We've been executing, and our pass rush has been very effective. And then also, obviously making them be in more third and longer situations, always gives you an advantage as a defense. So, it's kind of a product of the scheme and the guys executing it, and then pass rush and third and long.
Coach, you got the results you wanted on the ground, over 300 yards for rushing, but how problematic was it with the injuries of the offensive linemen and that sort of thing to put a group together? Yeah, well, we knew kind of coming out of the game last week that would be the case, so we worked with the other guys, really all week, and it was their opportunity to step up, and for the most part, there was some very positive play by those guys. So, I'm going to reserve judgment until I watch the tape, but to be able to run the ball the way that we did and the amount of yardage that we did, and frankly, not turn the ball over until the end, it was a pretty clean, pretty effective game offensively.
Fitz, to kind of establish a run beyond Justin today and kind of get Long, into the game plan. How big was that, just to kind of maybe build some confidence and kind of spread the wealth a little bit?
Kind of twofold. Number one, especially when we got a 3-score lead, kind of felt like giving Justin a little bit of a rest. We knew they were going to load the box. They'd done such a good job. I mean, last year watching Eastern on tape, I know they only won 5 games, but we were really impressed with what they were doing in all 3 phases and obviously with their talent. So, once we kind of got a big lead, we kind of wanted to make sure we were real smart with Justin. And then obviously a couple other guys too that have played a lot of football for us, but Justin in particular.
Coach, you did get some passing yards in here too today.
Yeah.
Is this a good environment to kind of get him broken in and get him used to using that as a weapon? Yeah,
absolutely. There's a lot of things that we've got to improve on offensively. One of them is throwing the ball. But I thought what was most impressive to me today about Clayton was when he did get out of the pocket, his decision-making, I thought was excellent. He didn't try to force anything. There was one play that was a little muddy, and instead of trying to force the ball, he threw it away. And then made some really good choices in the scramble drill, which we practice, to get us some first downs. So, I thought a very efficient day from that standpoint from his end. I mean, what was he, 11 of 16? A pretty efficient day. Probably like that one throw back in the red zone. We sailed it a little bit, if I'm going to be critical.
You just mentioned Clayton outside of the pocket. Do you guys do any design with his ability to run and throw on the run? Do you guys have set plays for him to run and throw? Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Hey, Fitz, would you say this is the most and the best team speed that you've had overall?
Chris, I think we're pretty darn close. Yeah, I mean, if we're not, we're pretty darn close. I mean, and it really starts defensively. We've recruited for speed. And with Kuhar back today, we got 10 D linemen we're rotating right now. It's the deepest we've ever been. We got to obviously continue to work hard to get better fundamentally up there, especially against the run. We had a couple of fit some plays incorrectly. And Eastern has a really good scheme with a running quarterback that they're going to make some plays and get some things out. running the ball. But, yeah, I think from a team speed standpoint, especially defensively, I think we're in a really good place. A lot of those guys are young, too.
Were you glad to have the opportunity to see with the running backs what Warren Long, Solomon Vaught, and all those guys could do?
Yeah, well, maybe a little bit different for your guys' perspective. I see them every day in practice, so I know what those guys can do, and I've said it. I think now since we started camp that I really felt like we have three guys, that are in my mind are established Big Ten running backs that can do a lot of things, and I like where we're at that position. I think from a standpoint of, getting Austin some carries today was good for him. Good experiences for him. He also got out in the kick game a little bit more. So a lot of guys played. A lot of guys gained some valuable experience that hopefully we'll be able to draw strength upon and continue to press forward and improve from a standpoint of now you've played. Now maybe you'll listen a little bit closer, try to execute a little bit cleaner, really truly understand, what we're trying to get accomplished schematically and fundamentally.
If it's given the overall kind of the mentality that you've had throughout, some of this like early part of the season and the preseason, all that, seems like you're under the thought of just never satisfied, that we could keep getting better, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. How much better can this team get? What do you see for potential for this team?
Well, I think the potential is exactly that. It's potential. I'm on production. I believe that we have to continue to have a, Chicago mentality. It's roll your sleeves up and go to work and work to get 1% better every rep every day. So that's when we've been pretty good around here. That's what we've done, and that starts in the locker room. And I thought Tuesday's practice was one of the best practices we've had around here in a long time on a Tuesday. I thought our scout team was excellent. I thought the way that the mentality, the attitude the guys came with. I challenged them hard on Monday about proving to ourselves that we're mature enough to handle success and show up the way and with the expectations that we have on ourselves, not externally or anything else, but the expectations to the standard that we have that we want to live up to every moment of every day. And when we can start to do that consistently, our play will start to become consistent. And again, the credit goes to the guys. They really want to continue to improve. And if we do that, the lifting's going to get a lot harder. It's going to get a lot more difficult as we move forward. And obviously this challenge coming up this week is going to tell me a lot about where our team is at. Going on the road, only able to take 70. We had great student turnout today. We had awesome fan support these first two games. Now to go into a hostile environment, it's going to be hot. It's going to be mid to high 80s next Saturday. It's going to be one of those tests to see, all hands on deck. Let's see if we're ready to go play against an outstanding opponent and on the road. So we got a lot of work to do, Chris, but I like where we're at through 2 weeks and through those, whatever it might be, 8, 9, 10 weeks that we started with summer school.
Coach, you mentioned having the potential shown to production. Do you think during the first 2 weeks it has shown, that the potential has shown in production, or do you think there's still a lot more to show yet then? Or have you been happy with the first 2 weeks then?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. We want to know twice. The other stuff are things that we can correct and we can fix. Probably the biggest thing that I look at from this team right now, our attitude is outstanding. And if we can continue to come every day with that. Now our freshmen have, Wildcat Welcome Week this week. They got a little bit more on their plate. 2 weeks from now, we get ready to play BSU. We got school starting up. So, it's just going to continually get more difficult. And our guys have done a great job. They've come mentally ready every day. They physically prepared the right way. And then post-practice, they've taken advantage of all the tools to get their bodies right to get ready to practice the next day. And so we've really been able to push them so far, and our depth is in a good spot. So hopefully we'll be able to stay that way.
Going back to your answer to Chris's question about kind of challenging your team every day, especially so that Monday, the press conference, you were very critical after watching the film. Mm-hmm. Did you think today the team kind of passed the test or the challenges that you put forth, or is it kind of an ongoing process throughout the season? Yeah,
well, the biggest test was Tuesday. Were we going to show up ready to go? And I thought that the way that they approached the start of the week was going to be more important than today. And it's no disrespect to Eastern, but, we felt pretty confident about the game. I wanted to see where our maturity level was at in the way that we prepare, and you get into that normal game week routine. I'll be up here on Saturday next week like this down in Durham. It just goes so fast. And they really handled the first week of a true game week very, very well. So now I look forward to seeing how we handle the first game week with new student, with Wildcat Welcome Week, with traveling. So just another big test for us to see where we're at.
Something, obviously the captains of the team are seniors, but you have a freshman quarterback, sophomore middle linebacker. I mean, are those things that you as a coach are going to have to really press upon the team because kind of the two players at those key leadership positions are so young?
Yeah, I don't know if leadership has anything to do with your age. I think it has more to do with your ability to produce and your consistency, your whether or not you're trustworthy. You got high character, and you just go back up whatever it is that you may or may not say with your actions. And I would say from a standpoint of Clayton and Anthony, they're A+. But the good news for them is they're surrounded, especially Anthony defensively. Travion and Deontay and the other guys in the leadership council on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys are strong. I mean, strong personalities and strong leaders. So I think it allows Anthony to just be himself and really not, if not anything else, piggyback the leadership defensively. On offense, getting CJ back helps a lot, and Danny's been doing really well. And even a guy like Matt Frazier, who's been out, has been leading and doing a great job. I see a little bit more coming from Justin. Stephen Buckley, a name that you might not see a lot in the stat sheet, is an outstanding offensive leader. So I don't think right now we have a shortage of that. But then again, we haven't faced real adversity. So that's when, we'll really be challenged, when we face that first big, adversity check.
How much of a comfort is this for your players not having to worry about school yet?
It's absolutely terrific. It's the best part about going to Northwestern. You get a world-class education and play 4 games a year without going to class. Yep.
There's probably a lot of schools that do that. They just don't do it legally.
Not for me. Not for me.
I think you rewarded a few players with scholarships this
Sure
week.
did. Yeah.
What was their reaction at the time, and what did you think of their performances?
Yeah. Sorry I didn't P.T. Barnum that and put it out on YouTube, but I'm not that kind of guy. Austin Carr is. I'll start with him. He's a very special young man. I mean, he's going to be a CEO of a company someday, and he can do whatever it is that he chooses to put his mind to. Very talented in all aspects, academically, socially, athletically, just unbelievable. And now to earn a starting role, it's just a great credit and testament to him. Jack, it's less about, somebody asked me, wow, I didn't even know he wasn't on scholarship. And that's a good thing, in my opinion, because he's worked like a walk-on. He has not taken for granted the reps that he's gotten. He hasn't taken for granted the success that he's had. I thought we brought him along pretty well last year. Very similar plan that we did with Jeff Budzine, where we didn't really ask him to do things that we didn't think he was prepared for. And through that, he gained confidence. And, I think he's starting to strike the ball a little better. And very proud of him. And being a multi-sport guy, also playing baseball. So he's got a lot on his plate. And then, Josh Roberts, from the day Josh got in here, he's a high energy, high work ethic. He brings it every single day on the practice field. And, Josh would be, if he was up here right now, he wouldn't say that he's any better than Anthony Walker athletically. He would just say, that's not my role. My role is to show up every day with an attitude and energy and make the team better. And Tuesday and it was perfect. Tuesday and Wednesday last week, it couldn't have been any better. We made a decision on the staff on who we were going to reward a scholarship to. And if he's not the practice player of the week, I'm going to probably fire the 2 GAs because he was all over the place. Helping guys get better. And rewind back to training camp, I have either seniors or leadership council members give talks about what we value. It's to you guys right to my left and what it means to be a Wildcat. And we go through kind of each value every night, and we have team meetings. And Travion Henry came to me early in camp and said, Coach, I think, talking to a bunch of the guys, we'd like to have Josh talk about effort, about what it means to have effort in this program. And that was kind of the big kind of aha moment for me. Just how respected Josh is. So proud of those 3 guys. And unfortunately, with the way the rules are, there's other guys that are deserving. It's just that's what we had available. And like I told some of those other guys privately, their time will come. Just keep doing what they're doing. Very proud of them.
Coach, so this is going to be the second to last time that you'll ever play an FCS team with the rules changing. How much are you going to miss these games starting in 2017 and going forward?
Well, from an outcome standpoint, obviously I'm very thankful for the win, but Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I got my first scholarship offer from Eastern Illinois. I don't forget that. First phone call opportunity to go play college football. And there's a lot of Chicagoans on that team. I thought that Jim and I had a great plan of playing local FCS teams. To give a lot of those Chicago kids a chance to play in a Big Ten arena, play close to home. But that's the decision that we've made as a conference, and obviously I'll support that, and we'll collectively support that, Jim and I. But, I get why we're doing it, but I think it's unfortunately for those kids, especially, Southern and Eastern, and ISU and Western, for those kids, they lose a great and special opportunity, which is a little bit disappointing.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you.
No, one more? Yeah, go ahead. You got one more? You raise your hand. I'll wait.
You got a good look today at your first dual threat quarterback of the season. You get another one next week and head into Duke. How do you feel like your defense stood up to a different look today?
Well, we held them to, pretty low total from a running standpoint and total yard standpoint. I think, especially the start of the second half, we fit a few plays incorrectly. And I've got to watch the tape to see exactly, where that happened and how that happened. But again, I think outside of maybe 2 or 3 plays, I think we tackled very well again. But, going up against an outstanding opponent next week. And so I'll know a lot more about our squad at this time next week, how we handle the road test, how we handle success again in the way that we prepare during the week. And then, playing an outstanding opponent, how we play in the moment. So, okay. Thank you, guys. Have a safe trip home. Go Cats. Thanks.